Hello everyone, welcome to Super Coaching Regulatory Bodies by Testbook. So we are back with another session for your upcoming RBI Grade B Phase 2 exams. And in this session, we discuss certain important newspaper articles which will be very helpful for a particular topic of essay writing in your Phase 2 exams. This series has been continuing from for the last 2 weeks. This is the fifth session. We have already completed 4 sessions before this. So if you are new to this series, I would request all of you to watch all the previous 4 sessions. We have discussed quite a few interesting topics. All right. So let's start. Let's begin. I hope all of you are doing well. Before going further, I would just like to request all of you to like and share the video and subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed already. Okay. Now, today we are going to have a different approach, a little bit different approach than what we had in the last 4 lectures. We are not going to actually read the entire news article, or we are not going to have the screenshots of the actual article, but I will tell you which articles will help for this particular topic. So let's look at the topic first. The topic of discussion for today's session is gender equality and economic development. Now, this is again one of those hot topics, as we call them, because gender equality in workplace, economic development, and its relation to gender equality. This is a commonly asked type of topic in your essay writing, and probably something related to gender equality could be asked in your essay writing section. Not exactly in these words, but some other version or some other way of asking the same question. So basically, now in if you see, women's participation in the workforce, in any workforce, has been the focus, and the essay on gender equality and its impact on India's economic growth and the role of women entrepreneurs in India could be expected. So when it comes to gender equality, they can ask you essays based on women's participation in the workforce, or they could be ask you essays about women entrepreneurs in India, women business women in India. So on those lines. Now the recent articles, these are not actually very recent articles, but one of the articles that was published in the Business Standard. These are just the titles of the articles, and these articles were published in the Business Standards. So this article was published in January of this year. So very old article, almost 10 months old article. So India sets up International Alliance for Global Good, Gender Equity and Equality. So this was when the Davos thing happened. Okay, so Schwab said India is one of the main topics of discussion at Davos in addition to climate, conflicts, and artificial intelligence. So a very interesting article. You guys can search it on Google as well. If you just search this entire title, India sets up International Alliance for Global Good, Gender Equity and Equality and Business Standard, ऐसा आप सर्च किया तो आपको ये आर्टिकल मिल जाएगा. As I said in the beginning of the session, we are not going to discuss the entire article. This is another article which is fairly recent, I would say, 9th September last month. It was published in Business Standard, and this was basically a statement by the President, Draupadi Murmuji. India UAE showed women-led development can deliver better results. So the President asserted this during a meeting when she had with the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi, Sheikh Khalid bin Mohammed bin Zayed, who had called the president who had called on the president at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. So when the Sheikh of Abu Dhabi had gone to visit the president at Rashtrapati Bhavan, she made this statement. Called on. See, called on is a phrasal verb. It means when a person goes to meet some other person, a dignitary, is called as called on. Something new we learn everywhere. You just have to keep your eyes open. So we come across a new phrasal verb, you make a mental note of it, and whenever you want to write a similar structure, you can use this phrasal verb in your essay as well. So this is a fairly recent article, 9th September. So these are the two articles that I would suggest you guys to go through and read. There are obviously other articles as well. You will find them on Google. However, we are going to discuss 10 pointers, 10 very, very key pointers, which are helpful for you or which could be helpful for you while creating essays, while writing essays on this topic of gender equality. Okay, so the first point is economic growth through increased labor participation. In this point, you can keep in mind that gender equality leads to higher participation rate of women in workforce. You can mention that studies show that increasing women's employment can boost the GDP. You can give an example. For instance, McKinsey Global Institute estimates that advancing gender equality could add $12 trillion to global growth by 2025. You can add this data and number for your argument. The second pointer that you guys have to remember is improved productivity and innovation. When a team is diverse, which has men, women, people from multiple backgrounds and various backgrounds, which include both men and women, bring different perspectives that enhance creativity and problem solving. So this is again a very important factor that you can mention. When the teams are diverse, when the company management is diverse, it becomes it has different perspectives, and that leads to creativity and better problem solving. This leads to innovation, right? This further leads to innovation, so you can explain the linkages, how one thing leads to other, and higher productivity and business success. So these are some general pointers that you have to mention, that you have to write in an essay which asks you to write about gender equality. Okay, then the third pointer is role of women entrepreneurs. Again, if the essay is specifically talking about women entrepreneurs, then you can mention that women led startups and businesses contribute significantly to the economy. India's government has taken steps to promote women entrepreneurs through schemes like Stand Up India and Mudra Yojana. So, what the government has done to promote women entrepreneurs, you can mention that, you can mention the name of the schemes. Okay, but more structural support is needed for scaling up. There are some loopholes, there are some issues, and you can address those issues and say that structural support is required, more such structural support is required to scale up. Okay, then the fourth point is gender budgeting and public policy. Governments implementing gender budgeting ensure that economic policies are tailored to close the gender gap. Okay, so government is implementing these gender budgeting concept, and what does gender budgeting do? It ensures that the economic policies are tailored in such a way that this gender gap is closed. So India has adopted this tool, and many state governments allocate funds specifically for women's empowerment initiatives. So India has adopted this tool at the central level, and there are many states in India who allocate funds specifically for women empowerment initiatives. Okay, so you have to bear this thing in mind. Then the impact on poverty reduction. Gender equality in education and employment significantly reduces poverty level. How gender employment, how women employment or women in the economy is directly connected to reduction in poverty. Women tend to invest more in their families, improving health and education outcomes for future generations. This is a general tendency that if the woman of the house earns, then she tends to invest that money, invest that income into improving the family health, family education, right? Rather than spending on things that are not required. And this also acts as a uh, you know a very good result, or it gives a very good result for the future generation of that particular family, and it creates a ripple effect. This is exactly what I was trying to say, a ripple effect. One thing leads to, one good thing leads to the other, and it continues in the long term, right? A sustainable economic development when it comes to family level. So the first five pointers, again, very important, very crucial, that you have to bear in mind. Then the sixth pointer is challenges in access to finance. Now, whenever we mention good things about a particular subject, we also have to make sure that we give enough scope, we give enough room for things that could act as challenges or act as barriers. Now, access to finance is one such problem that needs to be addressed. Okay, so you can say that women still face barriers in accessing capital for business growth. When it comes to accessing loans or accessing capital, there are various barriers that women face, often receiving smaller loans, right? Women, they receive smaller loans on unfavorable terms. Okay, maybe it could be the duration of the loan or the interest rate, right? So strengthening financial inclusion and making credit accessible to women is crucial for economic growth. So it is very crucial that women also get this credit accessibility, है ना, and financial inclusion में उनका जो है वो strengthen किया जाना चाहिए. So this is a point which can reflect or which can show that you are thinking differently. You are thinking about the point, about the challenges in this whole situation as well. Not just talking about the good things or the flowery things, but you are also talking about the reality. Okay. Then the last four pointers, the seventh pointer is you can talk about the social benefits and the economic stability. Gender equality fosters social benefits like reduced crime rates. How gender equality, how women empowerment, how women entrepreneurs and women in the workforce, it results into reduced crime rates. It also results into improved mental health, है ना, and stronger community resilience. So community becomes even strong, community becomes more resilient, it becomes more strong, right? These factors contribute to a more stable economic environment, because when a country needs what, a country needs a good stable environment, and a good stable environment has to have a very strong community, and this strong community is a direct result of gender equality. So everything comes down, it's like it completes the circle. So if you are able to connect the dots, if you are able to connect one thing to the other, it will be a very beautifully written essay. Then the next point that you can remember or add is global examples of gender inclusive growth. Not just talking about the theory part, but giving actual practical examples. So you can give the examples of Nordic countries. Nordic countries are the countries in the northern part of Europe, like Norway and Sweden, which have high levels of gender equality. And that is why these countries are also among the happiest countries in the world. The crime rate is the lowest, right? The corruption is the lowest. The lifestyle, people generally enjoy living in these countries. So gender equality ke मामले में they have the highest level, and they consistently rank among the world's most prosperous and stable economies. And that's why you'll see that their economies are also very stable, and you will never see news quite frequently that the Nordic countries, the economy is going bad and people don't have food to eat. Nothing like that. So their models show how inclusive policies in education, healthcare, employment support economic resilience. So they have these policies set out, not just in the economy, but in the field of education, in the field of healthcare and employment. So these inclusive policies, they support the economic resilience of the country. So these are some global examples that you can mention in your essay. Then the ninth pointer that you can mention is reducing gender pay gaps. Even though women have now been a part of workforce and the number is increasing day by day, still the big issue, another problem apart from access to credit, is of pay gaps, right? Closing the gender wage gap can increase overall household incomes. Men are generally paid more for the work that they do than the women. So this gender gap should be closed. And when the gender gap is closed, the combined income of the household, it increases. Okay, and it also stimulates consumer spending, boosting the domestic demand. So when the household income increases, obviously it can stimulate the consumer spending, and domestic demand can also be boosted, right? According to the World Economic Forum, it will take 132 years to close this gap at the current pace. So if we go at the current pace, it will take another 132 years, which is a long period of time, right? So I have to bear these things in mind and make this decision fast, highlighting the need for urgency in the reforms. Then the last pointer regarding this topic is policy support for gender equality. So to achieve true economic development, governments need to focus on policy areas like child support, paid maternity leave, gender sensitive work environments, anti discrimination laws, to create an enabling environment for women to thrive economically. Just like the Nordic countries, all the other countries and all the other governments in the world, they need to make these things as a policy, as a part of their policy. Okay, they should provide childcare support, paid maternity leave, gender sensitive work environments, and not being very insensitive about the gender issues. There should be anti-discriminatory laws, which are obviously in place in India, but they need to be implemented quite well. And all these things will create such an environment which will be very enabling and very supportive and very thriving for women, which would ultimately lead to a thriving economy, right? So these are the 10 points that you can note down, that you can add as a part of your essay. You can make paragraphs out of these 10, not all 10, but maybe 3 or 4 from these 10 which are useful for you in a particular paragraph. You can definitely think about them. Okay, so that was our session for today, and I hope you guys enjoyed whatever we discussed. I hope you guys uh, got to learn something new. Read those articles, okay, and join me on Telegram. This is my Telegram ID @Kaustubh Sir _ Testbook. Okay, you can also join me via QR code. You will get all the PDFs and YouTube session links over here. Okay, and if you wish to join our paid batch, the RBI Grade B Laksh batch for 2025, the link is in the description given below, and you can use my coupon code Kaustubh. This is my coupon code. Use this code for maximum discount. This batch is for those students who are targeting RBI grade B next year 2025, and it is a comprehensive batch, a foundation batch you can say, and each and everything is going to be covered in detail, basic to advanced level. So the English syllabus has already begun. We have already started the lectures. So if you are interested in joining the batch, I would suggest you to join as early as possible, so that you won't miss much of the syllabus, and you will get ample time to start preparing for your RBI grade B next year. Okay, so that is all for today. Thank you so much all of you for joining and watching this session, and I'll see you again in the next class. Take care. Bye bye. Have a good day.